Alrighty, we had a couple of closeout games last night, which makes things a little more interesting, right? We're starting to see the teams move on throughout the playoffs, so let's start talking about them, man. Starting off with Indiana and Milwaukee, first game of the night. Milwaukee just they didn't have it anymore, man. They ran out of gas. Doc Rivers said it in the post game interview or whatever, like, hey, you lose your two best players in the series. You're gonna only go so far, and like, yes, that is true and everything. They didn't have Giannis, they didn't have Lillard for part of the series and everything. But also, like, this team is just way more talented than the Indiana Pacers. I think the Indiana Pacers were just really able to get into their play style. They've seemed to have the Bucks number this whole season, which is a concern in itself, and we'll talk about that. But like I said, you don't have your best players. That sucks, right? I just think that this series could have been more competitive still. I know that this Bucks team isn't designed to get out and run. Pacers really got out and ran. They really did their thing. All the credit in the world to these guys, right? Absolutely love it. You know what? Let's just touch on the Pacers before anything else. Tyrese Halliburton came out ready to play today. You can tell he really brought the energy. He was getting everybody else going. When your best player is a point guard and he's getting everybody else involved in the game, like he's passing, it gets contagious, right? Because the ball is going to find its way back to the best player, like it always is. So when you're getting everyone else going and they're getting opportunities to get their shots, everybody feels comfortable. Nobody's got to chuck at any point. Like he makes the team better, and that's the beauty of Tyrese Halliburton. I really like what Andrew Nembhard's doing out there. I'm going to be really curious to see him in the next series, but we'll talk about that. And just a little heads up, you can see up here, I'm working on the Knicks Pacers video that'll come out not too long after this one, so stay tuned for that one. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment, do all that stuff. I respond to every single comment. There you go. But like Siakam played very within himself in this game. I thought that was awesome. Miles Turner, the Bucks had kind of figured out how to like guard him a little bit more, so he wasn't quite as impactful. Good to see Aaron Nesmith becoming a player again. I still like can't comprehend that he's a good NBA player. I really didn't think this guy would be a good NBA player, but hey, here he is. But story of tonight, TJ McConnell and Obi Toppin lead the Pacers to the second round. Who would have ever guessed? I noticed TJ McConnell, like the last two games, like being a little bit more aggressive, and I probably didn't give him enough credit because he had been like, it wasn't like necessarily super efficient nights, and actually the game before wasn't very efficient at all. But I was like, oh, TJ McConnell's taking more shots than he normally does. That's really cool. In this game, he really found his spots. They left him open and he hit the shots. And he's such an energy guy. Like I just love TJ McConnell so much. He's the stereotypical example that NBA we'll call them discussioners, that because that's a great word to use when they're like, yeah, this guy's really, really good, but his box score numbers don't ever show up. Well, today his box score numbers showed up as well, because what do we have? We had 9 assists and 20 points in 22 minutes. That is crazy. And then Obi Toppin finally showing some of the stuff that I saw in him in the draft process. 8 rebounds, was hit 30% of his threes, so we take that. Took 10 threes. I mean, I'm just glad he wasn't hesitating, man. Just let it fly. And he got to attack on a couple closeouts and stuff, keep offense going, but 21 points, love to see it. Ben Shepherd, a guy that I've been a little bit critical of in this like series. I still think Doug McDermott should have been the one getting the minutes, but he played really good defense in this one. I loved seeing him pick guys up full court, really trying to keep the Bucks like out of their momentum, like take a couple seconds off the shot clock here and there. Really thought he played a good game, so credit to Ben Shepherd. But yeah, Pacers on to the next round. Let's talk about the Bucks. What a weird season, right? What a weird season. Championship aspirations, and just nothing seemed to like click this year. You had your like associate head coach quit like really early into the season, and you like had success, but it like you couldn't figure out like how to play like defense at points at all. And you're like, oh my gosh, Drew Holiday's gone. How do we play defense? Then you fire your coach when you're the 2 seed. You bring in Doc Rivers, and it's like, okay, now we're like all over the place. Sometimes we're good, sometimes we're bad, sometimes our defense is here. And yes, you brought in a coach midway through the season, and you have all these good players. Something like that is probably bound to happen. But holy shit, what a chaotic season. Like, I can't comprehend like what happened here. The good news is you've got a really good basketball team on paper. You're starting to get up there in age with dudes like Chris Middleton, Brooke Lopez, right? I mean, even Lillard, right? Eventually. And so you start to question a little bit like, okay, like how much longer do we really have on things? But I don't think any Bucks fans should panic. Give them a season to get it all together and figure it out, right? I won't say they won't be without their concerns and everything. Like, health is always going to be a thing with an older team. I think Doc has some legitimate questions as a coach he needs to answer, because I'm going to maintain my stance that I don't think the Indiana Pacers are a very complicated team to game plan for at all. I really don't think so. I think they're one of the more simple teams. Like, you still have to like go out there and give a good effort, but I would have thought that's a perfect matchup for Doc Rivers. Like, you just basically have to like play hard and like know your basic coverages, and I feel like you can slow this team down a lot. But that's just me. I'm just a guy sitting in a chair right now. I'm not on an NBA staff anymore. So maybe there's a reason for that. No, well, there is a reason I didn't decide to come back, but that's not the point. But yeah, no. Milwaukee Bucks got some things to address. They got a lot of good parts on here. We'll do a Bucks ideal offseason. I'll get that out to you guys today. So probably a little later today it'll drop. So just be on the lookout for it. If anything changes, well, then, know that I got it out later. I got a lot of videos I got to get out right now, so calm down. Yeah, no, I'll be excited to see the development of like Andre Jackson Jr. I'm glad they played Malik Beasley a little bit more in this one. I still don't know why we're not starting him over Patrick Beverley. I just think Patrick Beverley's a good guy to bring off the bench to switch up momentum and everything. That just seems kind of basic to me, but what do I know at the end of the day? I don't know. Sorry, Bucks fans. You guys are done. All right, Knicks, Philadelphia, 118-115. Was this game ever a roller coaster? The Knicks got out to like a really big lead, and I was literally thinking like, oh, I'm going to get to record this video like early, like night before. So that's going to be awesome. And then that didn't happen at all. The Sixers literally just came back and like really started chipping it away. Embiid went into the locker room at one point. Maybe he just got retaped up on his knee or something like that. Who knows? But they decided to bring in who? Buddy Hield, who I've been saying this whole time. I'm like, you need to give the shooters playing time. Also, he's Buddy Hield. Why is he not starting over Kyle Lowry? Kyle Lowry was very good defensively in the series, but I've been saying the whole time, play Buddy Hield. He prevents them from being able to double team Embiid. That's the key. It's so simple to me. And Nick Nurse coached a very good series. I just think this was a complete oversight, though. I think that's crazy that he wasn't playing more. Also, why'd you trade for him then? Like, I don't understand. It didn't make sense. They put him in. Good things happened. They couldn't double team Embiid anymore, because when they did, they kicked out to Buddy Hield and they made the three, because Buddy Hield's a really good three-point shooter. You have to give him enough time on the court to actually get going. Shooters need to find their rhythm. So glad that they discovered that a little bit too late. But no, so the Sixers climbed back. They even took some leads at one point, and then the Knicks just decided to put them away in the fourth quarter with Jalen Brunson hitting timely shots, DiVincenzo hitting timely shots. I feel like OG Anunoby only hits shots that go like right through the heart. Like, there's just times where he just finds himself open for three, and he's just nailing them in the most like crucial of situations. So shout out him. Josh Hart, again, just being an absolute menace out there. Hey, man, you only had 2 fouls in that whole game of 46 minutes, and you played that level of defense? That's nuts. And one of those fouls was bullshit. There was one where he, like, got his hands, like, I don't remember who got the rebound. I think it was Maxey, and he was starting to come up the court, and Hart came and, like, got his hand on ball. Should have been a jump or something like that, but whatever. NBA refs are... We should talk about NBA refs at some point. I feel like they're getting worse, like, in the playoffs now. Like, with the ability to, like, review and everything, I just feel like they're missing like the more basic calls more often, or not, but whatever. Shout out Hartenstein. He was really good as always. So was Mitchell Robinson. They did their things out there. Even though Mitchell Robinson's not in great shape right now, looking really good. Deuce McBride didn't have as impactful of a game, but that's okay. Did his thing out there. We just saw a classic Thibs game of these guys just all playing like 40-something minutes. So absolutely love it. He gets them in shape for this point in the season for that reason. There it is. To talk about the Sixers a little bit more, I'm not going to gang up on Tobias Harris, man. The 0 for 2 speaks for itself. That's just unacceptable. But here's my thing with Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris over his career has consistently always found ways to get better and stuff. He started out as not a very projected NBA player, and he just worked his way into what he is. He has this contract for a reason. Going to be a free agent now, obviously, but I fully trust Tobias Harris to come back and be good to go and everything. It's gonna suck to look back on, but is what it is. Maxey obviously didn't have a great game as well. I was a little bit annoyed with how much Cameron Payne was out there. I know Cameron Payne has his moments, y'all, but that's his whole thing is he has moments, and I just don't like that out of a backup point guard. I want stability in my backup point guard, and so that's my problem with Cameron Payne a little bit. Great to see Nick Batum show some flashes again. Paul Reed really just kind of struggled in this series. I really just think he was kind of too small and not skilled enough to go up against Mitchell Robinson and Hartenstein. Like, whenever Embiid came out, that's when the Knicks generally throughout the series played a lot better. And not necessarily in this last game, but that's mostly because Buddy Hield was out there doing his thing. But, it's something to think about, right? Like, do you need like a bigger center coming off the bench that can be a little more dynamic or something? Hard to say. You only have so much flexibility and so many players out there to go get. The center market doesn't look good this offseason, so you're probably coming back with Paul Reed, but I think Paul Reed's a fine option at the end of the day. You just have to game plan for it a little bit better. But yeah, no, shout out the Knicks, man. They're going up against the Pacers. You guys are going to see that video coming out here in a little bit. And yeah, we'll talk to you guys later.